We got 2007 Mazda something. I don't know what the world this is. It's got the 2.3 turbo though. I know it's got that in there because it's a turbocharger up under that hood. So we know the engine. I just don't know the make. I'm gonna pull that up shortly. But what she complained about was, obviously the check engine light. But here's one key thing: the check engine light came on only after she went through the car wash. All right. She said she had a thermostat problem. Fan's been going off. She had a mechanic look at it, and they couldn't resolve it. So here we are. Now, what I want to know, pretty much, pull a code, see what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. But as far as the context clues from the customer, she said she went to the car wash, fans started going off real loud. Also, the traction light, I'm not sure if that's correlated. And she did state there was some shifting issues transitioning up to fifth, or potentially overdrive. So what I'm going to do, I'm in the generic portion here. I was able to get a quick code, and it was something regarding the temperature sensor. Let's see what that code number is. P0117 engine coolant temperature sensor circuit low. That's pending and a hard code. Now when I got the car, she drove it over here. She said she didn't feel safe driving it, but she managed to drive it today. Check engine light was off, but then again she did need to jump the battery, from what I understand. So battery probably died, memory got cleared. She drove it, was fine. Then when that problem registered, here we are. Let's see what the freeze frame data say. Look at that, engine coolant temperature, 246 degrees. So this is essentially the freeze frame data is going to be the snapshot in which the vehicle saw an issue. Now, again, when I got the car, it was no check engine light. I started it up, no check engine light on. I gave it a little gas, check engine light popped on. So this makes sense. This is me doing it. Didn't touch anything, just trying to replicate the complaint. 718 RPM, I'm just starting it up. It did sit in heat soak. And so yeah, I'm just gonna make it very simple. Is the fans coming on? Well, obviously check coolant level. There's coolant in the reservoir, but what about the coolant level actually in the vehicle? How is the top heater hose temperatures in comparison to the bottom? What does the PID data say? Is it actually running hot? So it obviously saw 240 something degrees while sitting here because the check engine light popped on. Let me see what it states now. 208 right now. So let's let this warm up. In the meantime, I'm gonna go check on what kind of car I'm working on for one, and then we'll go into the ABS module, see what codes are coming on up in there. This engine type, a CX-7. Yes, you did say it was a CX-7. California emissions. It's a four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. All right. Cool. Advanced keyless equipped. Diagnose, do an auto scan. All right, here we are. I did a complete scan. There's 10 different modules on here. I can hear the fans coming on there. They're starting to blare pretty loud. Let's see what these codes are before we go into the live data. Some body control module, airbag, passenger airbag, disabled warning circuit, airbag, circuit open. I see we got some refer to warning, illuminating request signal from other modules. Okay, diagnostic refer to some U codes here. Refers to the warning light illuminating request from, okay, so it's probably correlated with other models here, like it states. Wheel unit 3 not responding, so that probably we just have a bad wheel speed sensor, possibly. Sound low sonar. All right, so I don't think I need to go anywhere else. What's interesting is that ABS light. I wonder what happened with the car wash if the water ejected itself, hit a wire or something. But these fans also keep coming on and off. I'm not sure what's up with that, so that's something to look into. I know you can hear in the background. I don't want to clear any codes just yet. Let's go in here. Maybe we can, let's see, go to live data. Let's see what the temperature is. Here in the bidirectional portion, you could definitely get a lot more information than you would in the global generic portion. You should get boost factors, a lot more in-depth information about the map sensor and stuff. So let's see what we got. And let's go to, we got the air temperature, coolant temp, that's boost temp. That's cat temp. I'm just gonna put coolant, I know. Okay, we're at 204 degrees. Look at that right there. We just likely have a bad temperature sensor. Thermostat monitoring coolant temperature is negative 40 degrees. This right here indicates a broken connection. So it probably utilizes two different methods. Engine coolant temperature. Let me see what the rest of this say. A thermostat monitoring engine coolant temperature. So it probably utilizes two different temperature measurement devices. So you might have a coolant temperature sensor for the overall engine, and then the thermostat coolant temperature. Like I think Chevy does this too, if I recall. Don't hold me on that. But like it'll have a thermostat, like temperature sensor right at thermostat, or like some type of heating element in a thermostat, I guess. I don't know this system. Don't hold me on that. But one thing I will do, being that this looked like a complete broken connection, go to the thermostat monitoring, monitor engine coolant temperature. Maybe that's where that's going to be located. And this is me not looking up any type of diagram. Thermostat monitor engine coolant temperature. Thermostat monitor engine coolant temperature. I do need more information on this. The bad thing about being an advanced feature, sometimes you'll just get multiple replicas of PID information. So this voltage right here probably should be correlated the engine coolant temperature. So let me go to the let me find the thermostat, and once I get there, what I could do is pull that connector and put a test light to it and see if the voltage changed. So essentially the element should change or vary resistance, which will alter the voltage value, which the computer takes and translate into a temperature measurement. So with that said, when the resistance increase or decrease, a voltage will also increase or decrease. So I can take a test light depending on the voltage value that goes out or that goes into that sensor, and then the signal side, jump that with a test light and see if these values change, because this looks like a broken connection. If these values max out, sensor's bad. And I don't have to test any additional wiring. You hear the fans just kind of coming on and off. They're very indecisive. Yeah, they're on and off, on and off, on and off. Let me see if I can pull up a fan PID here. Dancing around on and off, on and off. I mean, is this problem related to the thermostat or not? But what I will do, look at it, it just doesn't know what it wants to do. I think it's related to the thermostat. I'm not going to touch that fan circuit, because that, if I mess with this, I'll be chasing my ass right now. So I'm going to go with what I know typically would command this fan to operate, which is going to be the thermostat signal. So what's strange is if this is dancing around, could be a bad module. Why did I do that? But is the thermostat signal doing the same thing? Which it wasn't. I mean, let me see. The coolant. I'd imagine this will be dancing around too, right? Well, I can't change that. Wait a minute, look at that. I didn't notice that. Look at that. That's interesting. So is it overheating or is it not overheating? The customer did state she does have a brand new temperature sensor, so we could try that. But this right here just seemed like just the bad sensor. Not a bad new sensor, but just a bad sensor overall. Let me see if I can pull this up with the fans also. Look at everything dancing around. Duty cycle for the fans jumping from 0 to 30 to 100. Coolant fan temperature sensors changing because it thinks it's overheating and it's just going straight up. So let's do something with that coolant temperature sensor first, because I think it obviously just needs a new part. The thermostat's not gonna be bad. She did say she bought a thermostat. I just think this is just probably bad corrosion, or bad. I just think it's a connection problem. Let's check that. We should probably find some corrosion on the sensor, and this is going to indicate that we just have a broken connection. Probably. We'll see. Based on the instructions to replace this, I got to remove technically I'm supposed to remove the battery air duct, but I just need to get to it. It seemed like it's back there in the corner from what Identifix state, and I think I can see it under here. It looks like it got some blue crust stuff on there, so let's just remove some basic stuff here. I expect to get a mass airflow sensor code and probably some other codes here, but I just want to, the biggest thing is to see if we can manipulate the PID data and see if anything changes. Let me show you, this should be the sensor here. Let me show you what it looks like before I disturb it. There we go, right there. It's blue, so you already know what I'm looking for. Oh shit, oh gosh, how did the battery get, oh man. I guess they didn't connect the battery all the way. I was say, what in the world is that sparking? It's blue. So if I pull that connector off, it should be crusty. I probably know I need to take this charge pipe off here. I think I might be able to slip my fingers in there. I just need to see it. I wouldn't mind being able to, let me see, work it around. If I could, yeah, let me pull this charge pipe off. I think I might be able to move it to the left. I'm sorry, to the right a little bit. Somebody been back here already based off that hose clamp, because that's not factory. A little space. gonna have to remove that battery, but I'm gonna see if I can work around it. Let's see, a little bit of room. Ow, that's hot. Oh my god, that's hot. Get something down and pull it off. Connector. Man, it's hot. Sensor just looks fine connection wise. Make sure I'm on the right one. I'm gonna pull up not cut the car on, cut the ignition switch on, look at the PID for the coolant temperature sensor, see if it's at -40. Here we go. So, yep, we're at the right one because I do have it disconnected. What I'm gonna do, I could connect it back and see if anything changes, but it's disconnected. So that's -32. Typically when you kill the connection, it'll drop negative. This is very hot. I tell you what, golly, this is hot. Man, it's hot. Yep. All right, value went back up. So it went to 204. I'm at 246. Let me tap on this. Let me see if I can get y'all here. I'm gonna tap on the sensor, and then you can probably see if it changes value or not. I'm pushing down on the connector, moving it around. Okay, let's tap on it. Yeah. I'm tapping on it. See, the thing is, the PID data is only 1 second per division. I don't know if I can't speed that up. I can only slow it down. Yeah, I can only slow it down. So that's the fastest it's going to give me information. Yeah, me hitting on it does make it work better. Just need a new temperature sensor. It's working now. I'm not going to worry about any type of, well, I did move the connector. I'm not going to worry about the connector because we know if there was a straight up bad connection, it would have dropped to 0. I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna, she has a coolant temperature sensor. I'm just gonna put on what she gave me. Hopefully it's the right part. Let me make certain. All right, so here we are. She did have a new temperature sensor. Uh-oh, my computer's falling. Let me show you something. I do have it. This is the part number she got. It's just a Duralast product. Now, I'm gonna be honest, don't shy away from Duralast because sometimes they have factory parts in their Duralast brand. Now this, I touched this is why it's so dirty. So this seemed to be the right one. I was able to disconnect the sensor and plug it in. See what happens. I had a phone call. So I got it plugged in. Here, look at that. Temperature change went down to 93. Now that's the current temperature that it is now because it's sitting in the engine compartment and it's hot. So, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I think what happens when this coolant temperature, the sensor that's in there, the bad one, when it's reached a certain temperature or a certain threshold, it just go haywire. So now the only thing to do is to replace the part. I got another car coming, because I gotta fix that. This was just a quick diagnosis. Next, I'll show you me replacing this part, and hopefully I have to pull all this off. I might be able to move this, scoop this to the side here. Oh wow, it just popped off. that right there will definitely cause some issues. She says she had some misfires. That'll definitely do it if it's disturbing the mass airflow sensor. Found something. So I'm gonna get some space. We're gonna replace this together and check out work. I'll let this cool down and we'll be back. Back. So now, I don't know if I mentioned, but somebody already been back in here. They replaced, she got the head gasket replaced some years ago because it had obviously blew. But I'm gonna see about just getting just enough room and not having to break anything. I think I can. It's a 19 socket. This is some metal I could pry up against here. I just need a little bit of room. If I break it, I buy it. So, let's see if this will work. Okay. Relieve the pressure off the coolant system. It sat for a little while, but I'm gonna keep it connected. Keep the coolant. So I pulled the cap off. I'm gonna put the cap back on, and so it doesn't have any way to spew out from that plug there. Let's see if I can. It doesn't have anywhere to bleed off. Now, I'm pretty sure yours will vary. Somebody been in here. Got it out. Let me get the, it's supposed to be an O-ring on here, right? Let's see here. That was an O-ring on there. I guess it's not. Once it deteriorated, so here's the old one and here's the new one. They are identical. Thread started by hand, then I'll put the socket back on there. Oh shit. Oh. You know, I'm not even gonna edit that out. If I broke something, I broke it, but I did not disconnect the battery. Totally my fault, and I thought nothing. I thought nothing. That's what happened. I'm gonna show you the damage. I didn't break anything besides it hitting the pole here, the extension. Damn. Let's see if I can get this on here. All right. I'm not one of those perfect mechanics. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Just gotta line the plug back up. Here we go. There we go. All right. This was one of the other things here that was loose when I pulled this apart. I mean, when I literally just pulled the air intake off, this was just loose here. So not sure if that contribute to her stalling. I'm gonna pull this off, and I think I got a hose clamp that'll fit this. If not, then I'll cut it and slide that back on there. This is just basically a little blow-off valve called the diverter valve, but this needs to be plugged in because if there's a absence of uncalculated air, it'll run poorly. Honestly, it'll just be easier if I just throw it on there like it was, but why not try to make it look a little neat? It's a little shorter. Ain't much, but honestly, I just could have cut the other one. Yeah, that's fine. Wasn't nothing major. It just hit the top of the positive part here. It didn't break anything or damage any fuses. I do need to charge the battery up a little bit. It's low. Oh God. Let me fix that. I'll just squeeze these together. No. Let's get it right there. Yeah. So yeah, coolant temperature is 120 degrees. Fan duty cycle is changed and stabilized to 30%. There's our coolant temperature voltage. Let's look at the other sensor and see if that changed from -40. No, it's still on -40. Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess that's probably some redundant information. It's unneeded. So learn something new. Let's see if there's any codes in here. If it is, what I'll have to do is go into the keep alive memory and erase this, because this shouldn't be nothing more than a mere forward. No fault codes. Okay. I need to go back and see if there's some transmission fault codes, but let me take this on the test drive. Let me show you the mileage before I do it, just to prove to y'all that I actually took it on a test drive. And then when I come back, after I put about 5 miles on it, then we'll reassess things. Here we are. The mileage is reset. Trip A is at 000. I'll be back at 5 miles, and then we'll look over some information. All right, just got back off the test drive. I got about 6 miles. I just made my normal loop focus. Let's go in the PCM, see if there's any codes present. Car drove great. It didn't have any shifting discrepancies, no harsh engagement, like she said originally. And as I told her, if there's some issues with, no fault codes present. I wish I could see about the drive cycle. Oh yeah, let's go to the temperature. So as I told her before, depending on how influential the check engine light is, it can affect shift parameters. Basically, if it detects a fault and how that component is needed for input for another system, then yeah, it'll cause it to shift improperly, especially like a coolant temperature sensor. That's very important. Coolant. Yeah, so we're we're at, this is Celsius. We need to go to Fahrenheit. If you care, this is the MK908 scan tool by Alltel. This what? Wait, was it? Oh, you know what? I was looking up there at the top at the Celsius because that didn't change. Okay, it's 219 degrees. Now, technically, depending on the temperature of the thermostat, that probably could be replaced. But I'd imagine they probably replaced it during the head gasket. And let me see what this thermostat states, because she did get one. Wait, here, is this the whole housing? Sometimes they'll state the temperature on here. Oh, it's a whole plastic housing. No, it doesn't state the temperature. Usually, I mean, they're like 190 degrees. I didn't know it was a whole housing. Shows what I know. But either way, I mean, the car is not, it's not overheating. It's in the center. Not all normal operating temperatures are the same. So let me put this back. So, oh shoot, she had a good guess. You know, replacing the coolant temperature sensor. And I'm glad she did have it, because you know we didn't have to buy any parts to do anything else additional. So this definitely, I think it could definitely be lower, probably right around 200 degrees. It is raining outside. Let's see, and the fans are working. It does have adequate coolant in it. So let me rev it up, see if it reduces. Yeah, you know, it may have low coolant. Could be. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to, you know, tomorrow check the coolant level. I thought I did, but it may just be low on coolant also. So I'll do that. But for the most part, it's working. It's not fluctuating. Let's look at it graphically. And that's, I mean, it's a lot better, because before it was dropping off. It ain't doing that anymore. And it's just a slow fluid transition. See that? It went up a little bit. It was just simple. It's not spiking or anything. As far as testing go, something else that could have been done was take a digital thermometer and just check the temperatures. And sometimes you can use that to back test the coolant temperature sensor. But being that we saw this literally just falling off the face of the earth and just surging, plummeting, not literally falling off, but it was surging. That was a good indication that there was something clearly wrong with that sensor. And so yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you this: labor time to replace that coolant temperature sensor by the book, even though I did it in like 10 minutes, by the book though, is 1.4 hours. So I guess that would be the equivalent of like you having to drain the coolant or disconnect the battery, you know, and pulling off all the necessary components, again, pulling the battery to get adequate space to comfortably move it without potentially breaking stuff. So that's the labor time. You saw I did it in like 10 minutes. It wasn't that long. But hey, this car's fixed. We fixed the majority of her complaints. She did mention the ABS, not related. I'm not going to go into detail about that. But as far as the shifting issue, as far as the misfire, we probably fixed that with the hose, the diverter valve hose. She mentioned that on cylinder 4, because she said since 3 years she put 4 sets of spark plugs in here. Okay, so she probably had a lot of hands on it. Shifting, the shifting's resolved. I think I mentioned it already, but the shifting's fixed because of the influence that the coolant temperature sensor had on it. And the limp home mode, that's fixed because of the coolant temperature sensor. And the fans, the erratic fans, so that's fixed. So that resolved a lot of her problems. But if anything happened, I'll definitely update. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, had that research my work. See you on the next one.